All right. Now, so for the attendees, before we get started, I can just go over a few housekeeping items. You have a GoToWebinar control panel, and on that control panel, you can see a lot of different things, and you can ask us questions and communicate with us through that control panel. If you type your question or your name or any kind of testing word in the question bar, and then go ahead and hit return or enter and send that to us, then I can tell you if that's working. So we can go ahead and give that a test and make sure that you can hear us and that you can communicate with us. The other option we have is to unmute you so that you can speak to us and let us know what your questions are. That way, all you have to do is write in that question bar that you have a question, what it is, and that you'd like to speak and tell us what that question is. So Dana, do you work exclusively with people who are going through divorce?
No, I work with a lot of different types of clients, but primarily my primary focus are people who are currently going through a divorce or have gone through a divorce and are still feeling a little bit stuck.
Sure.
Another area of people I work a lot with are people who've experienced loss through a death of a loved one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, we're right here at the top of the hour. It is 12 o'clock, so we will get started. Today's presentation should take, somewhere around 45 minutes. So you'll have a few minutes to grab a lunch, but you can also eat while you are listening to the webinar. Again, this is interactive and it's meant to be interactive. So if you can let us know what your questions are, and we will try to answer all of those. So, my name is Billie Tarascio. I am a family law attorney and the owner of Modern Law and Access Legal. And today is kind of a special day in our webinar series because we have a guest with us today. Her name is Dana Lam. And Dana, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much, Billy, for having me on. So about me, I've had a little over 13 years of coaching and mentoring. I am the co-author of a book called Does This Ponytail Make My Butt Look Big? Style and Beauty for Women. And so when we look better on the outside, we feel better on the inside, which, that's a really great tip too, just for anybody. If you're not feeling good about yourself, just, doing your hair, putting some makeup on, and looking great for the day can really make a difference in your attitude and how things go. Within just a little bit about my background, within a 3-year short period of time, I actually went through a difficult divorce. Eventually met a really amazing man, and who I thought would be my life partner, and unfortunately, he developed leukemia, and so I spent about 8 months taking care of him. And shortly after that, about 2 months after he passed away, my mom's cancer returned. And so I lost 2 really important people in my life within a 6-month period of time. And so that's where I shifted my coaching to help people going through transitions and loss, such as divorce, which can be very difficult. I have 2 young boys, so they're 16 and 12. So I understand how that goes with those dynamics of your children, and also dealing with people who are grieving and going through loss.
So today we're going to talk about transitioning from being married to being unmarried and doing it in a way that is psychologically and emotionally healthy and empowering. It's a little different from our typical webinars, which are more based on the substance of law. And Dana, we're so happy that you're here to kind of help us with that. Now, that is your focus, right? Transitioning in a psychologically and emotionally healthy way.
Yes, it is. Getting people moving forward in life rather than being stuck where they are.
Great. All right, let's go ahead and move this along. All right, so you are a coach. And people often see therapists. How is coaching different from therapy? And how does someone know if they should see a coach or a therapist or both?
Okay. Yes, some people choose to see both for the different elements, and coaches and therapists are different. In a therapist, you may want to see, um, or just to, if you're feeling really sad and stuck, but you don't want to stay there, but you're ready, you're ready to move on, then a coach is probably right for you. A coach can be a great accountability partner, your cheerleader to help you when you're having a bad day, and just to keep you focused and moving forward, because it's amazing what can happen, how quickly time flies. I myself have a business coach as well as a personal coach. And if I meet with my coach once a month, it's amazing how I have all these tasks to do, and a whole entire month will go by, and or 3 weeks have gone by, and oh my gosh, I haven't done what I said I was going to do in the month. So having a coach is a great way to have an accountability partner to keep you moving forward. If you're not ready and willing to move on, you may need a therapist. So if you're having any suicidal thoughts or thought of hurting yourself or someone else, you definitely want to get some help right away for issues such as that.
So if somebody has a history of depression or any sort of kind of clinical issues, medical issues, a therapist is someone that they should see.
Yes,
And then
definitely.
somebody is just looking to, break through some barriers and get somebody who's going to kind of be their guide and their, like you said, their cheerleader and their accountability partner, then a coach is the way to go.
Right, because a lot of times you may have friends in your life that are there to support you and help you, but they may be too close to you and too
Mhm.
close to the issue. I know they're well intended and well meaning, but sometimes a coach is just a great person who has a bird's eye view of
Mhm.
what is going on in your life to help you get out of your own way and moving forward in a positive way.
I love that. I love that. As a friend, sometimes you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. You maybe don't want to call them out.
Right.
And you
So
can,
somebody could be impartial.
yeah, and you can call people out. In fact, that's your job, really. So how do you determine where you're stuck? What if you're going through a divorce, everything is not working, right? Everything is changing. And so how do you know what it is to focus on?
Well, for one, most of us really get stuck at some point or another in our life in some area. That's really normal. Most of the time, it's not all areas. And one of the exercises with the Wheel of Life we'll be doing a little bit later will help people to pinpoint really what areas in their life they're stuck on. So, and a lot of time, if there's a lot of things that are going on, you don't know where to shift your focus. So this will help give some clarity. And sometimes we avoid looking at where and why we're stuck because it's painful. Um, it's a lot of work to change. We maybe, we think we don't have time to take care of it, or oh, it's not that important. If I just sweep it under the rug, it'll go away. We're
Mhm.
worried if we feel the pain, sometimes just even sitting and acknowledging where we're hurting and where we're in pain, we're afraid we might just fall apart. And so some of the first steps to healing and awareness of getting out of where you're stuck is one, awareness,
Mhm.
accepting where you are is where you are, and it's okay. It has to be okay because that's where you are, but you don't have to stay there. Having compassion for yourself. We can be our worst critics and beat ourselves up all the time. There's a great book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
Mm.
And sometimes, part of the awareness is listening. What are you saying to yourself?
Mhm.
And what are you telling yourself? And things you say to yourself, you would probably never say to a friend. So having compassion for yourself, asking for help wherever that may be, an outside source, God, the universe, your higher power, whatever you might call it, or a coach, an attorney, things like that, looking for help in outside areas. And then being appreciative of your life and taking action. School is never out as school is never out for the pro. And even as a coach, I mean, I'm always working on myself. I know I can always improve and be the best human being I can be.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's really great. Um, and we're going to get to the Wheel of Life, which is attached here as a handout. But, when you are transitioning from married to unmarried, so much is changing. Everyone feels stuck. Everyone feels anxiety. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit about how that grieving process affects those who are going through divorce.
Mhm. Yes, and you can actually find there's a lot of different stages of grief. I've seen some people share it in 3 stages of grief, 5 stages, 7 stages. A lot of it can really be lumped, together. The first one is always, shock or denial. So it's some type of, disbelief of what is going on in your life and how this can be happening to you. The second stage of grief is usually anger. So some type of frustration with the situation, wanting things to be different, maybe
Mm-hmm.
blaming yourself, maybe blaming other people, questioning why me. And then there's the bargaining. Sometimes we may bargain if you're in a situation, for example, in divorce, and the divorce isn't something that you wanted. You may be bargaining with your partner as to, I can change, I can make things different in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're the one who left, you also may be having some guilt around that. And maybe you're bargaining, wow, maybe you're bargaining with yourself. Did I make a mistake?
Mm-hmm.
Did I make the right decision? Should I give it some more time? So that would be another area.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes into depression, reflection, loneliness. You may be feeling lonely, which may, if you were the one who left in a situation, you may be wondering if you made the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were the one who were left in the divorce and this was not something that you wanted, you could also be feeling depression, loneliness. It's a great time of reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll make an upward turn eventually, and everybody has their own timing that they go through. And I think when you really try it, when you want to move forward, you'll get to this area of acceptance much more quickly.
So, Dana, are the stages of grief always experienced in order? And are they experienced once, or can they? Because I see people kind of move through these stages, be angry, get to acceptance, and then go back to anger.
Yes, yes, that is completely possible. You could be in acceptance in one day and depression or anger the next day, or 5 minutes later. You could go through all of these stages in one day. So there is no right or wrong or possible. Everybody has their own stages of grief and healing process, and this is something that can even go on years later. And it's just something that you need to be aware of. Awareness is really the first step in anything.
Mm-hmm.
And, finding some tools that work for you, and I'll give some at the end to help you when you're in the anger, the bargaining, the depression stages. I can give you some tools and resources so that you can move yourself out of there. And so hopefully the goal is, even 2 years from now, you may get angry or be sad or be lonely about the situation and what transpired several years ago, but are you going to be there for weeks and months, or are you going to be there for 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, so this is great. So here are, I kind of think we're either in fear or love. So here are some of the feelings of fear, I think, that go along with when you're going through anything that's uncomfortable in a
Mm-hmm.
situation like divorce or loss. So you're feeling grief, denying, you're disappointed, depressed, you're feeling miserable, shock, maybe hopeless, and probably a lot loneliness and having sadness and being overwhelmed with everything that's going on and all of the changes in your life.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so how is it that we're always in fear or love? Explain that to me.
Well, I mean, I think that's just really all there is in life. You're either in fear or love. There's no really being on the fence with that.
Yeah.
So you're either, hopeless or hopeful, right?
Sure, sure.
You
Yeah.
can't really, there's no really middle there. And so the great news is that you are the creator and the author of your own life. So you get to choose where you
That's
are.
exciting. That's really exciting. And it's interesting to think about that. So in every moment of our lives, we're either embracing that with fear, we're either approaching that with fear and anxiety, or we're approaching it with these things, the confidence and happiness. I really like that.
Right. And I really believe there's a lot of studies on quantum physics that we're all energy,
Hmm.
and that there's energy behind things. So in any given situation, and I have a great chart on my website that people can access. It's a scale of 1 to 10. There's a lot of different energy models, but it's based on the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins, and he talks about different energy levels. And Diane Daniels with Raised Vibration has actually condensed it into really simple 10 levels with words attached to help you associate it. So let's say you're feeling a level 4 energetically, and fear is one of the words there. So you don't want to stay there. Nobody wants to stay a level 4 energetically. The goal is to always be in those higher energy levels and to move yourself up to, let's say, hope is level 7, one of the words associated with level 7. So moving yourself always, it's really about awareness. Once you're aware of where you are, and you have the desire to move somewhere else, then if you have the tools, you can move yourself into that next level and feelings of love and feeling powerful and courageous and confident and inspired, because we all want to be there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm very anxious though to hear how we're supposed to do that, because I speak with people every day who are in the throes of divorce, and the last thing they feel like is powerful or courageous. They feel like their life has been taken from them, and they don't
Right.
know what to expect, and so this is really great stuff for them. But it doesn't look like we're going to get there yet. So tell us about this 3-year exercise.
Okay. Yeah, if everyone has a piece of paper handy, or you can feel free to, I think, go back to this at a later time. I love this exercise. So I want you to think back to 3 years ago. So it is now March 8th, 2013. And how old are you? How old are your kids if you have them? Um, More than likely, I guess the people on this call would have been married. So how old is your spouse? If your parents are living, how old are they? Where do you live? What do you do for fun? Um, what do you do for a living? How is your health and your physical appearance and your physical fitness? Are you going on a vacation? Did you go on a vacation in 2013? But I want you to, this is a great exercise if you have with someone else, to tell them your story and describe it in first person, as if you're telling your life in your current story. So for me, I might say, oh, it's 2013, and I'm so excited. I have the love of my life, and he is so wonderful. He just moved here from Newport Beach and gave up Newport Beach to be with me, and everything's wonderful. We're getting ready to go on vacation to a dude ranch with my 2 boys, and we're going to have this really amazing time. And so then we can kind of go to, this leads into the next exercise. So um, the next year, which is the 3-year exercise for 2016, is fast forward it now, 3 years. And the reason I want everybody to do that is think about even 2013 to 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you right now, and what is that? And I apologize, this slide actually should say 2019.
Oh, really?
So Yes, I'm sorry. So what I want everybody to do, that was my mistake. Sorry about that, Billy. So what I want people to think about is, wow, look how much has changed from 2013 to 2016. Now I want you to, on a piece of paper, write down and verbalize, what does your life look like in 2019? I mean, it's amazing how quickly 3 years can go and how our lives can change. So in 2019, 3 years from now, how old are you?
Hmm.
How old are your kids going to be? Are your parents living? How old are they? Where are you living? What does your house look like? What kind of car are you driving? What are you doing for fun? How is your health? How is your physical fitness level? What do you do for a living? Where are you going on vacation this year?
Hmm.
Do you have a partner in your life? Do you have somebody special in your life? And describe this in first person as if you're telling your story in the current life. So I would encourage everybody, it's kind of a little bit of a takeaway exercise, but I really wanted to get people thinking. And again, I want you to write your future story of your future self in 3 years from now in 2019. And you are
So,
the creator of your own future. So what do you want to create?
so this is really kind of a goal, a reflection, and then a goal setting exercise.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm excited to try this. Try this with my husband, see where we're at, where we're going,
Right.
make sure we're on the same
And
page.
yeah, and what you think about, you bring about. So if you're stuck thinking currently about how sad you are, or how awful things are in your life, and it's not where you thought you would be or where you want to be, that can be sad and depressing. And do you want to be in the same spot 3 years from now?
I love it.
Probably not.
I love it. That's
So
awesome.
it's a great way to visualize, what do you want to create in the next 3 years. What does your dream house look like? What does your dream life look like? Because you are the creator.
Well, and it's interesting. We ask people at the beginning of their divorce to think about these things. Think about where you want to be because it will affect the decisions that we make while we're going through your divorce. Whether or not you end up keeping your house, whether or not, how important um, different things are to you as far as stuff goes, and then what type of custody arrangements are even, practical or beneficial given where you want to be. But you've done it in a very tangible way that really considers not just the practical aspects that I'm typically looking at, but also the emotional aspects. And it really adds value to the exercise. So thanks for doing that. Now, what are we looking at here? What is the wheel of life?
Okay, so the wheel of life, these are different areas of our lives. And so the handout that's attached to that, if everyone, when they have an opportunity, if they can print it out. In the meantime, how you can use this, though, is just write notes and go through each of these areas of your life. And I want you to think, what is your current level of satisfaction? So let's say fun and recreation. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your current level of satisfaction with fun and recreation in your life? A 1 or a 0 being not very satisfied, and a 10 being highly satisfied. And the Wheel of Life has little numbers on it, so you can circle and gauge where you are, or you can just write down a number. And do that for each of the areas, for career, your health, your fitness level, your personal development, how much you're working on yourself, friends and family, how are your relationships with your friends and family, your environment, finances, romance, the different areas. And actually, the Wheel of Life that I printed might be a little bit different too if you go to the next screen.
Sure, I was busy writing down my numbers. And so I have a couple questions with this. So, what's the goal? Is the goal to have tens on all of them?
Well, there's always probably going to be something or some area of your life that you're going to need, want to work on. And of course, the higher level, the ultimate goal would be 10 in every area where you just love and you're completely excited and happy about where you are in every area of your life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's realistic. I
Right.
mean, for anyone really, I mean, there's always some area that we might want to improve on at one point or another. And so again, awareness is, I mean, I think this is a great thing to do at least once a year, and especially when people are going through transition. Look at this 3 months from now and 6 months from now, and that way you can see your progress of how
Mm-hmm.
you've changed, especially going through a transition such as divorce. So, um, and then for relationships, like my will, I love this. It has intimate relationships and social relationships. So right now, people going through divorce, I mean, that's, you know, probably a given that your intimate relationship may not be what you want it to be. But what about your social relationships with your friends? And, what about parenting and your spiritual awareness? So those areas. And so what I'd like to offer everyone too is if you, my email will be at the end. So let's say you've rated yourself in personal finance a 3, and that's your lowest rating. If you email me and let me know personal finance, I have a wheel of life for each area. So I have a personal finance wheel of life that looks just like this, but it breaks down different areas because it's probably not all of your finances that are the issue. Where is
Mm-hmm.
the issue? And that way you can drill it down even further to look at what areas of your life that you could use some improvement in and make some changes. And then so I use this with my clients in coaching so that we can, when people are overwhelmed, and there are a lot of times I get people who are really low in most areas of their life, or at least 3 or 4 areas that they really need to work on. And so we usually will focus on 1 to 3 areas depending on where they are in their life rather than trying to do everything all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll focus on a couple of areas at a time and get some positive momentum that they can do to start to move their number up to be as close to a 10 as possible, if not a 10.
Sure. Yeah. Great. So we've done that, right? We'll go through the wheels, we'll rate ourselves, we'll kind of take stock of where we're at, and then here is where you tell us what to do with that.
Right. So, again, when you're going through transitions or something that you is making you feel stuck, there's a few things, and we touched on them earlier. One is be kind to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we can, during this time, we can say mean things to ourselves. I would say maybe be kind to yourself and others in this situation. If you feel angry or bitter or that somebody has wronged you too, there may be feelings of anger towards another person. So being kind to yourself and to others involved and taking the high road. But a great book, as I said, is the What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our thoughts do create our reality. And so if you're having a pity party and telling yourself, feeling sorry for yourself and saying, woe is me, or beating yourself up and telling yourself that you're an awful person, you should have done things differently, or if I would have only done this, things would have ended up differently, or worried that you're going to, you know, maybe your life is changing and it's not going to be as good as it used to be, different things. Um, More than likely, if that's the way you keep thinking, then your life may very well turn out that way. And I think it was Henry Ford that said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
Because so if you keep telling yourself that your life is awful and you're sad and you're lonely and not really doing anything about it, then that probably is the life that you're going to create. So if you can be kind to yourself. Another great exercise that I have, if anyone is interested, please feel free to reach out to me. But it's an I am exercise where you, especially if you're not feeling confident or good about yourself, it's such a great exercise to really find positive words and it doesn't take very long, and you actually end up with 5 positive statements that you say to yourself. And I encourage people every morning and every night to read these statements, these I am statements, like I am awesome, I am amazing, I am powerful, whatever you need to come up with your words. So it's a little meditative and taking some action and some positive statements. So just really be good to yourself and don't beat yourself up so much. The next thing that I really encourage is meditation and movement. And the reason I put both of these together is they can be done together, or you could do one or the other. I know some people find meditation hard. And there's a really great app. It's called Stop, Breathe, Think. And I refer this to everyone I meet. My kids use it, and my 12-year-old son, who it was very difficult to get him to go to sleep by himself, to wake up. When I asked him the first time, I would ask him 20 times before he would get out of bed. Since we've been doing this meditation before he goes to bed at night, I just wake him up once, and he immediately gets up. He's in a better mood. It's amazing what a simple shift such as a guided meditation can do. Wow. He just does a 3-minute meditation at night. I do longer ones. So they're anywhere from 3 minutes to about 20 minutes, I believe, and it's a completely free app. So even if you don't like meditation or you find meditation difficult, I really recommend, this app is a great way to start. Yoga is a great way, which is a moving meditation, so you're using movement and meditation together. If you another great moving meditation is, right now the weather is so great. Go take a hike, walk around Tempe Town Lake, go hike a mountain, because that's a great time for you to be outside in nature. And while you're walking, you will be meditating and contemplating. And during that time, make sure that you are being kind to yourself and putting positive thoughts. Somebody once said, garbage in, garbage out, right? So what are you putting in your head? And physical exercise I know sometimes during having gone through both grief and loss through divorce and death, I know that sometimes we put ourselves last and we make the excuse of, well, I don't have time, or maybe it's you were paying for a gym or something, you don't have the money. We can make all the excuses in the world of why we can't exercise, or maybe because you're too sad or whatnot. And that's the time that you really need it the most. So make sure you are taking time for yourself. If you can, get massages, get pedicures. Do things to pamper yourself if you can, and take time for yourself. I think that's really important. And I remember one time I was so sad, and I drug myself to hot yoga, and probably an hour of the hour and 20 minutes, I laid on my mat and cried. And luckily it was hot yoga, I thought, because nobody probably noticed I was crying because everybody was wet.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was interesting. I couldn't do the poses the way that I normally did. They were much harder. It was much harder to do physically. When you are in this really sad, low place, it does affect your body physically, and that's when you need it the most. So make sure you're taking time for yourself. And then the third thing is really visualize living a life of passion and purpose, and that's where that 3-year vision kicks in. And think about what you want to create. I would pick at least 5 things that you want to create, and create a vision board. If you haven't done that, there's all kinds of great online tools instead of the old-fashioned way of, which is really time-consuming, and I think we're all busy. So I'm all about saving time rather than going through a magazine and cutting out pictures and putting them on a poster board. There are all kinds of apps that you can create virtual vision boards, and then I print them out and keep them up. I have each of my kids, so if you have kids, I really recommend that for your kids too. Get them creating what they want to create for their future and in their life.
Well, in a lot of ways, I'm not a huge Pinterest user, but really, isn't that what Pinterest kind of does and allows us to do?
Pinterest, I know I don't use Pinterest a whole lot either. I have a lot of friends, but I guess it kind of is, but it's mostly posting for people to I think things that you like, you're
Mm,
sharing with your friends.
mm-hmm,
So a vision board would be, I mean, where you have it all in one place.
mm.
So put the things and I guess Pinterest is, but where you can, I don't know that you can print it out. So
Oh,
you can kind of, and then a vision board, you could type words
mm,
on it also, and then print it out.
great.
So it's really important to think about where you're going for the future, and then start to take those small baby steps to move forward.
Hmm. Well, Dana, thank you so much. This has been a really kind of powerful and uplifting webinar, and very different from the ones that we've done in the past. And so now I just want to open up to questions. If there are any questions or comments, I'm happy to read them out loud. One question that I have is, how long does this take? Like if someone is going through a divorce and they're miserable because, their life's changing, realistically, how long can they expect it to take before they can come out to a new normal in a, psychologically and emotionally healthy way?
Hmm. That's a really tough question, and I think it really depends on the individual. And with divorce, I mean, as you know, that can be um, a speedy process in some cases. In other cases, it could be a couple of years that it might drag on. So in those cases, it may take somebody a little bit longer, because when you have that hanging over your head and you don't have that final closure,
Mm-hmm.
there might be some uncertain things going on. And I think everybody is just different in how it's really going to depend on the person's willingness to want to move forward and change,
Mm-hmm.
and the action steps that they take to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so much of what you've said is check in, become aware of where you're at, and make a decision to move. And it doesn't
Right.
really matter, where you, as long as we're doing those things, right? Stop and assess where we're at and make a decision to move somewhere, then we're not stuck.
Right. Yes, yes. And, celebrate your small successes.
Mm-hmm.
So again, don't be hard on yourself. So if you even make one small positive change towards having a more healthy, happier, joyous, productive life, make sure to celebrate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what I think would be a really fun blog to work on, and maybe we can work on it together, would be things like, what are some free things that you can do to take care of yourself? Um,
Hmm.
and so just that, so people who are facing a very tough situation can tangibly, be reminded about the things that they can do to take care of themselves and to help themselves move forward. But if somebody wants to contact you and wants to work with you, tell us a little bit about how that would work.
Sure. So um, here's my contact information. So my office phone is 602-481-8375. My website is Dana at Dana Inspires, or my email is Dana at DanaInspires.com. So if you'd like to email me one of your lowest areas of your wheel of life that you would like to take a step now to work towards,
Mm-hmm.
you can email me, and I will email you back the secondary wheel of life, for whatever that may be: fun and enjoyment, finances. You let me know, and you can work on that on your own. Or if you would like a little more help, I am offering to your clients, Billie, a free consult with me. So we can talk about something else to move you forward, or if you want to focus on that secondary wheel, we can do that in the consult.
That's
And
really
just in,
exciting. Thank you, Dana. I really appreciate that. I think so many of my clients, especially once they listen to the webinar, because it will be recorded, will take advantage of that and could really use the hope that you bring, and the actual action steps, and the I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but the tangible things, that tools that you have for people to move forward.
yes, yeah, yeah, and we will definitely, even if in one session, we can break down a couple of action steps to get people moving forward, in the next 30 days, to give them something to do. And depending on what's going on in their life, I can definitely give them more free resources. So I love that idea. On my website, there are a couple of resources that I have. There is a place they can go to Raise Vibration, which there is a paid piece of Raise Vibration, but there's also a free portion where you can create an online vision board and email it to somebody, which is really great. So that's available on my website. There's a download called 21 Wishes, and I know that might seem overwhelming to a lot, but even if you can do 3 to 5, think about 3 to 5 things you want to create in your life, and it could be tangible or not tangible. Maybe it's a new house, or maybe it's a vacation or a new car, or it could be just more being in better physical shape, those kinds of things. So that's a great tool to get you thinking about what you want to create for your future, and you can use that to create the vision board. So those are on my website too.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Dana, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. And we all just really appreciate you taking the time to share this information with us.
Yes, well, thank you for having me on.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.